What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Conor McGregor goes off on UFC roster. As former UFC champ Conor McGregor prepares to make his highly anticipated return to the octagon to compete against Michael Chandler, he decided to ruffle some feathers this week. During a live stream from his Black Forge Inn, McGregor took aim at a number of fighters on the UFC roster, calling out the likes of Kamaru Usman and Alexander Volkanovski. In addition, McGregor called out recently crowned featherweight champion Ilia Topuria, pulling no punches.
Usman, yeah. Usman. Who's Usman? Kamaru Usman? F*** him. Kamaru Usman. He's a bum. Give a f*** about Usman, yeah? Conor, opinions on Topuria. F*** him too. Don't give a f*** about him either. Thoughts on Volkanovski, you know. No thoughts as well. F*** him too. F*** him too. I'd have kicked his head clean off his shoulders, and that's a fact.
McGregor also took aim at his former friend Artem Lobov, while firing off several shots at Topuria, dismissing his title reign.
He reminds me of a little Artem Lobov. Topuria does, yeah. Two little. Holloway too light, too fast. I think Holloway picks him apart if they fight. Why? Holloway has done it. He has that featherweight title. He's had it for a long time. He's now the BMF. I think Topuria for me is a non-champion in my opinion. He might have a strap, but it's a meaningless strap in my opinion as he holds it. I don't see any attraction to it. So what's he? Is he Georgian? Or is he Spanish or what's he? So I don't even know what he is.
The series of callouts span across multiple divisions, which certainly opens up a number of doors to other bouts, depending on how things play out against Michael Chandler. Of course, after several years away from the octagon and the horrific injury he endured in his last fight, there's no telling how big of a factor ring rust will play in his return, and what it may mean for his future inside the octagon. Next up, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley breaks silence on bad news. UFC bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley recently put out a notice to his fans that under no circumstances should anyone show up to his house unannounced. This week, rather than an over-enthusiastic fan, police showed up to O'Malley's house as the result of a swatting call. During the latest episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley opened up on the situation.
Yeah, went home. Me and Sonnen went and grabbed some Whole Foods, went home, like, I'm gonna stream today. Streaming, about an hour and a half in, I see a cop fly down my road. I feel like instantly I kind of knew, because I've heard about like Aiden and like the big streamers getting swatted. People find out where they're at and they call the cops, say something happened. So I peek out my head out the window to see like maybe the cops are, maybe it's something else, but then they're on the intercom and I see a bunch of cops and they're like, walk out with your hands up. So I walk out, hands up.
Were you a little nervous or just like, I'm just gonna listen?
I was like, I'm just gonna listen. I could get shot. I'm you know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, if I just listen to him, I'll be all right. But you never know. Someone sneezes, pulls the trigger. I got shotguns pointed at me, ARs from like 4 different cops pointed at me.
O'Malley went on to explain that the police officers then placed him in handcuffs and put him in the back of the cop car, with many of the officers initially not knowing who he was. As he recalled, the officers told him that an anonymous person called and informed them that a fatal shooting had taken place at the house, which was what sparked the massive police response. Fortunately for the champion, he was able to get the situation cleared up. Next up, let's take a look at Daniel Cormier sends a warning to Jon Jones. UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones has come under fire from many members of the MMA community who have accused him of holding up the division by refusing to unify the title. Despite that, Jones has continued to justify his fight with Stipe Miocic, citing the long list of accomplishments between the pair, pointing to the fact that he and Miocic were on a collision course long before the UFC decided to create an interim title. This week, after screenshots of DMs allegedly showing Jones telling a fan that he was set to make $15 million to fight Miocic circulated online, Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier weighed in. While speaking in a video for his YouTube channel, Cormier indicated that if Jones is in fact set to make $15 million for the fight, he understands why the champ has little interest in taking another bout. At the same time, however, he also sent a word of warning to his longtime rival.
But if I'm Jones, I'm definitely fighting Stipe Miocic for $15 million. I'm telling you, I didn't get that. I didn't get 15 to fight Stipe. I'm telling you, I fought him 3 times. 3 times. I didn't get 15 to fight him. He said Stipe's old. Sounds like Jon Jones is wanting to fight the highest grossing fight with the least amount of risk. But I will warn you this. Don't overlook Stipe Miocic. He is a killer. And if you overlook him, he will put you out. He's just that good. 42, 35, 31, 38, don't matter. Miocic is going to show up. It's going to be a hell of a fight.
Of course, so far, there's been no official word from the UFC as to when the fight between Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic will take place. Next, let's take a look at Bobby Green reacts to Paddy Pimblett fight. When the Octagon returns to England this summer, streaking Scouser Paddy Pimblett will look to continue his climb up the lightweight rankings. Standing in his way will be none other than longtime MMA veteran and fan-favorite Bobby Green. After a big win over Jim Miller at UFC 300, Green used his post-fight Octagon interview to call out Paddy the Baddy, who at the time was getting ready to celebrate the birth of twins. While there was potential for a fight between Pimblett and Money Moicano, given the rankings, the UFC opted to book Pimblett for a fight with Green this summer at UFC 304. Ahead of the fight, Green spoke on the MMA Hour to share his thoughts on the fight.
He's solid. He's not bad. He's not a bad fighter at all. But the problem is he won't shut the fuck up, you know? Shut the fuck up, Mao. Be that stupid kid with that stupid haircut. Be happy and dancing, whatever he does. He does a little stupid dance, you know? Let him do his dance and be happy. But when you start talking and that's what got him all this bullshit. Shut the fuck up, Paddy. Why? Because he started talking about the Jarrett fight. And then not only that, he doubled down on that shit like, no, I whooped his ass. Like, bro, everybody can see you lost that fight. And so, just be humble. He's not humble. And this is going to humble him up.
From the sounds of things, the plan for Pimblett is to pick up a win over number 15 ranked Bobby Green, which would then in turn not only land him in the top 15, but also put the baddie in a position to fight number 10 ranked Renato Moicano. Next, let's take a look at Leon Edwards wants to fight Conor McGregor. Should Conor McGregor wind up getting the job done against Michael Chandler at UFC 303, it sounds as though there's a real possibility of the Irish star competing against welterweight champion Leon Edwards later this year. Both McGregor and Edwards spoke about the situation this week, with Edwards indicating that the fight could happen while speaking on the MMA Hour.
Yeah, 100%. Why not? You know, I feel like let's give him an opportunity to become true division world champion. Give me the opportunity to take out a guy like Conor McGregor. New York, that'd be perfect. So that is the fight. You know, I feel like he goes out there, take out Michael. I'll take out, no one remember his name, and then we'll go from there. we'll go New York, MSG.
Oh my dear.
Let's go. That's the fight. I feel that's the fight. You know, like I said, we've got business to take care of, but that's the fight. You know, I feel like that's needs to happen, and it should happen.
While speaking in the previously referenced live stream at the Black Forge Inn, McGregor spoke about Edwards' title reign.
You can't be. There's too many decisions going on now. That Leon fella, Leon Edwards loves a decision, and you know, and then he's fighting another. He's not fighting another decision guy, your man Bilal. So, not great times in the welterweight title picture. 200 buyers, probably not even 150,000 buyers. If it's even a pay-per-view, it's probably not even a pay-per-view.
As McGregor also indicated, at this stage of his career, there are two things that interest him: the welterweight title and the BMF belt.
Leon Edwards, Nate Diaz almost knocked him out, had him out on his feet. You know, if that fight was going on, Leon's unconscious. So also, Cerrone went the distance with him. So, you know, I'm looking at all these belts. The lightweight world title, although I've held that, you know, how excited would I be to cut that weight again? You know, after winning it already, I've already held the belt. I'd be excited about the bad mother title, and I'd be excited about the welterweight title. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I take things as they come.
Should both fighters emerge victorious, we could be looking at a fight later this year. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Chael Sonnen reveals plans for Jorge Masvidal fight. UFC legend Chael Sonnen had previously made it clear that in the event Nate Diaz wound up withdrawing from his scheduled boxing match with Jorge Masvidal, he would be willing to step in to settle things with Masvidal on short notice. Now, it appears as though a bout between Masvidal and Sonnen will take place later this year regardless. While speaking on a recent episode of Good Guy Bad Guy with Daniel Cormier, Sonnen opened up on his upcoming bout with Anderson Silva, explaining that it's merely a stepping stone to his ultimate goal of beating Jorge Masvidal inside the boxing ring later this year.
He offered to do MMA rules. According to them, Anderson said for Chael to pick the rule set. And it was just a situation where I've always wanted to box. Danny, I got this thing coming up with George Masvidal. I mean, here, if we're just letting all the secrets out, I got this thing coming up with George Masvidal in October of this year. And that thing's been coming up ever since ESPN sequestered me in Miami at $2.99 to try to protect me from George Masvidal. Like, there was nothing that really hurt my ego more than me being the one that was being locked down. And I only share that with you as I've known this Masvidal thing was coming. coming. And then when do you let the cat out of the bag? Then the Masvidal versus Diaz. I don't want to step on Diaz's toes, and he's got that fight, but allegedly they moved that fight from June 1st until somewhere closer to the Paul Tyson fight. And I'm only sharing with you, I got George in my sights, and Anderson, as badly as I want to beat him, and as much as I am going to go out there and beat him, it's all a step in the process, because when I get there with Masvidal, it's going to be 8 rounds, and they are going to have the 10 or the 12-ounce gloves. It's going to be a little bit different situation.
So far, Masvidal has yet to weigh in on the latest claims from Sonnen. However, in the past, the inaugural BMF has made it clear that he wants to fight Sonnen for his past PED usage. Next, let's take a look at Islam Makhachev reveals plan after Dustin Poirier fight. While Leon Edwards may potentially have his sights set on a fight with Conor McGregor, lightweight champion Islam Makhachev has other plans. Ahead of his upcoming fight with Dustin Poirier, Makhachev has already made it clear that in a perfect world, he would like to move up to compete against Edwards for the welterweight title in pursuit of champ status. He spoke on a recent episode of the Weighing In podcast with MMA veteran Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy amid news of Edwards versus Muhammad headlining UFC 304.
Now what happens if Bilal beats him? Then what do you do?
Oh, look at the change of attitude there. Come on, why?
Bilal, he was here now.
Yes.
He just came yesterday. I don't know, brother. I don't know. We have same manager. We will do something. He's a very good
easy.
guy.
Oh, he's
He
just
just
good.
came to the camp and he was sparring today with Sagid. You know, it's gonna be crazy fight because Bilal waiting too much for his chance and he's training very hard for this one.
While he hasn't fired back yet, once Arman Tsarukyan catches wind of Makhachev's comments, he's likely to have something to say about the champ's plan. AKA head coach Javier Mendez also weighed in on Max Holloway's potential odds in a title fight against the champ after his UFC 300 win.
It really comes down to strategy and game plan. Islam Makhachev is not going to go and stand with Max the whole, 5 rounds. He's going to take him down and he's going to work him on the ground. Max gets up, he's going to take him down again. He's going to beat him on the stand-up, beat him on the ground. So it'll be a grueling situation for Max, not as much for Islam, because Max doesn't really have great wrestling defense, nor does he care to have it. So I don't look at him as a huge threat, though he's proven us wrong. So he could very well prove us wrong, and the fans may want to see it. So fans want to see it. Islam wants to fight. UFC offers it. There it is. There's the next one.
With a slew of options on the table, it'll be interesting to see how the UFC handles things in the lightweight division going forward. Dustin Poirier sends a warning to Islam Makhachev. Ahead of their fight at UFC 302, Islam Makhachev shared his prediction for the fight.
Brother, I don't know how, but inside the 3 round, I will finish Dustin. I will try every second. I look for the finish always.
Dustin responded to this claim in a recent interview saying,
I'm going to knock him unconscious, and the ref's going to be pulling me off of him.
Top comments. McGregor, ecstatic and enlightened about Khabib's $3 million debt is amazing. Conor sounds more like the creepy drunken uncle than ever. You don't see a lot of Khabib fans backing him up for this one. Colby does not stand a chance against Charles. I'm still laughing how he said he is better than Charles everywhere in MMA.